Hi folks, this is Danny from Bradley James Classic Cars, and I'm bringing you today an extremely early and particularly rare Ford, a car that would have been built in 1980 but registered in April 1981. Now, of course, this is the same year that Escorts finished, Mark IIs, and the front-wheel drive all-new Escort Mark III was launched. So this is a very, very early Escort. In fact, it's probably among the first built. It would have been built in the Helzoin plant up in Liverpool. It does have a few unique features which are unique because only the very early Escort Mark IIIs would have had these features. Now, a little bit about the car. Already it's tax and MOT exempt because it's registered in April 1981. The car has had Z-Barting, which is a corrosion protection since new, and that's why this car is super solid. All the telltale plug holes in all the usual places are there, and that's why this car is still present with us after a whopping 40, what does that make it? Surely it can't be as old as that. It is. It makes this car 42, coming up for 43 years old. Isn't that amazing? And it still feels like such a modern car, but that's probably about me being old. It drives exceptionally well, and it's actually a everyday working classic, meaning you could jump in this car and drive it on a daily basis. Now, to skip to the chase in regards to its condition, whereas the bodywork is super solid, it is what I can only describe as a little blotchy all over. It's been maintained, and if an area of paintwork has been chipped or sun damaged or something, someone's come along and they've touched it up with an aerosol, whatever, here and there, and it actually was probably best left as it was. But it does mean the car has a bit of a dent here. It does mean it's a little blotchy here and there, and in order to get this car to full show standard, you'd probably have to repaint it, or you'd do what I would do, and I would enjoy it exactly as it is, because it makes it extremely honest. It's not necessarily patina, it's the fact that somebody has gone around and given it the odd touch up here and there, and that's why, if you can see the blotchiness here and there, that's what it looks like all over the car. That's the easiest way to say it. I doubt you'll see another Mark III Escort which is Aztec bronze. It's an impossibly rare colour scheme, only available on the very earliest of these Escorts. And where it really gets crazy is you look inside and it has what's called Indian red interior, and those early style seats, you will not be seeing any headrests, and these are the early seats that are only fitted to the first couple of months of production of the new Mark III Escort. You know, these door cards are very different. Now, bearing in mind this is a GL model as well. GLs went on to have a lot more specification later on in their production. No headrest. There's a little sun damage to the top of the two front seats here. Nothing drastic, but the rest of the interior and the headrest is incredible, really. But that's an orange carpet, which is factory standard. It kind of blends in with the rest of the car. I think this is probably its greatest charm. Its wonderful colour scheme. Look at that Aztec bronze, and then against these terracotta brown door cards, orange carpet, Indian red interior. Incredible. Back to the specification. A 4-spoke steering wheel was something which a GL model had. This car's had a conversion to a Weber carb rather than the Ford VV carburetor, which would have been fitted at the time. So it's a common conversion. A standard radio. One of the GL features is this sort of under dash here, having a clock here. You've got a bit of a crack in the dashboard, and indeed, unfortunately, Escorts suffer with this cracking above their dashboard, and this one's no different. and it also puts this out of line a little, but I'm afraid that's a very much an Escort thing. Look at that, that's incredible. I don't think anyone who's owned this car has ever smoked, by the way. An early car with just a 4-speed gearbox. Ford spent an absolute fortune. In fact, I believe I'm right in saying they literally spent tens of millions developing the front-wheel drive Escort. They also invented the CVH engine. This is the 1.3 CVH. A huge development cost. And these early cars, as I say, they have some differences, and you will only find them on cars that were produced in the first few months of production. And they're silly little things, but an Escort Mark III with just one jet wash here. Usually there was a pair. Metal door handles. And for those who know Escort Mark IIIs, they know they weren't metal. This one's got a lovely rare feature. It's actually got the stainless steel beauty rings and centre cap, which they actually had on the gear model. This car has them. A small item here, a non-locking fuel cap. Again, those who know that that usually has a lock. This is an anomaly of this car. That Ford Escort badge is just like a badge fitted to a Mark II Escort. The very early cars had Mark II Escort badges on Mark III, because actually the Mark III Escort badge was tall like the rest, and it was a different font. And this is the same sort of badging, exactly the same badge that went on a Mark II Escort. They are small things, but it does make this car quite unique. And if this car ended up in the hands of a Ford enthusiast who is into car shows, I can assure you it's little quirks like this that make cars interesting. I think I've mentioned the fact that you've got no headrests, which is kind of no big deal, and you'd be very accustomed to it if you had a Mark II Escort. But to have a Mark III Escort, no headrests, that's really rare. They also had this off-camber suspension setup, which just had a 2-bolt setup. Now that was unique only to the very early cars. Now, having covered 86,000 miles, the car, I believe, has still got a lot of life in it. It certainly drives exceptionally well. It starts on the button, it's up through the gears. There is some paperwork and some additional notes that come with this car, which talk about the fact that the car had a clutch done in previous owner's time, and generally speaking the car looks to have been maintained very well. A good set of tyres all round, for example. The GL features which are on the car, you get this stainless steel bright work around the windows, and actually a GL model I think is probably super rare. A lot of them were Ls. Having the GL, that was quite a bonus. You have a little bit of extra trim on the bumpers. Can you see next to the number plate either side? That's a GL feature. And same on the back bumper here, that extra moulding along the back. Now these are all small things, but very nice. These gutters are, I believe I'm right in saying that they are a little slimmer on the first and the early cars. And the fact that this Aztec colour, Aztec bronze, is such an incredible colour, and it looks so good on this car. And if you marry that up with the fact that the car is actually rock solid and was Z-barted from new, it makes this car a real practical daily driver. Nice little things. It was in fact the car of the year in 1991. That badge has either been sourced separately. It looks to have a supplying Ford badge on the back. It looks suspiciously in good condition, so maybe that's been added, but that rust-proofing badge does look original. And these are sort of plates that were fitted of the era, these pressed steel plates with that font are completely correct for a 1980-81 car. The wheels I know have been refurbished, so they look pretty much as good as new. And actually, just as you look around the car, there's so many nice original features of it. I'll show you under the bonnet as well, actually, while we're here. And then you can say you've had a good look. And then I'm going to finish up actually with a very slow walk around the car, and I'm pretty much going to be able to show you every panel. A lot of my customers these days, they know my business. They know that we've been selling cars like this since the mid-2000s, and I think we're trusted to give an honest description and tell customers how it is. Now, the engine bay, it's dirty. It certainly hasn't been detailed, but it's very honest. Let's say it could be detailed up. I mean, there's been no attempt made to beautify this engine. I can just see that it's had a liberal spray of wax oil everywhere, and that's why I believe it's in pretty good condition and it's so solid. And just panning over the engine there, definitely an area you could improve if you wanted to tidy this up. I think I mentioned to you that this car has had a Weber carburetor conversion and a manual choke, which is quite a popular conversion. It's also solid under here, and just pan across here. Oh, let's just drop that bonnet back down, and we're going to have a look around all the panels. This front offside driver's side wing looks to be in good order all the way through, right down to the bottom. A little bit of touching up has been done around the aerial. The driver's door, it's got a few little paint chips which have been touched up with a stick, which someone's obviously been fumbling around with the keys. Very solid down in the seals, very solid down in the bottom door. The usual chips on every panel that have been touched up badly with some ill matching paint. This rear wing's in good order. I think the roof will probably benefit from a machine polish, but it's very honest, as is the tailgate. Good sized boot in these cars, and I'm happy to say that the cover is in place, which is nice. The bumper's in particularly good condition. I think I read somewhere in some notes that a new old stock one was sourced. That exhaust looks excellent sticking out the back there. Nice in these arches. This rear door on the near side, that looks pretty perfect. The the passenger near side door, and this wing. And I'm going to get down low and show you the front valance, which you probably may have heard that don't always fare so well. The car is really solid underneath. If I'm being fussy, I can see to the back of those headlamps we've got some issue with some bubbling to the silver. And a final little pan round, a slow walk around the car. I actually think this car is pretty special, just purely bearing in mind what it is. It isn't an XR3, it's not the gear model, it hasn't got all the bells and whistles of the later cars, but because it's early and in this condition and it's solid, it does make it unique. Ford Escort prices are frankly scary if you're looking at super early cars. This car can be had for probably half the price of an empty two-door Mark 1 Shell, just to put things into perspective. I think if you wanted to, this car would be certainly worthwhile, and it would be a contender. Look at somebody's bought a number plate when it, I've taxed this from when it probably first needed tax. That's a nice touch. I believe Ford Escorts, especially the van models as well, they seem to be getting stronger and stronger in price. Now the price of this car does actually reflect the rarity, but I do believe there is the potential for this car to happily rise in value. And I think if you were looking to invest in a car and take it to the next level of condition, I think this, because of what it is, would be worth paying the money, perhaps for a full repaint, perhaps for a dashboard repair, for the handful of jobs that would be required to take this car to a showing level and do well in car shows, certainly an engine bay refresh. It's mainly the paintwork that stops this car looking stunning, because it's just honest paintwork that has been touched up over the years, something which people do to prevent paintwork getting any worse. They treat it locally, they put a bit of paint on it and they carry on. And I think that's actually been exactly what's happened with this car. Well, I'm at the end of my walk around video. I'll be taking a few photos. I'll invite anyone with sensible questions to get in touch. I want to point out there's a bit of a dent here, so I don't know if that's someone's had a go at breaking into it years ago. That's a possibility. But one more pan around the interior. I'm in love with this colour scheme. I don't know, maybe it's me loving quirky colour schemes. Now, a history file to be proud of is what you'll find here. So again, for those who are interested in showing cars and cars of that standard, you're gonna find it here. It's so lovely and original, and she's in stock. I better just end up by telling you that we can have this car delivered anywhere in the UK at a sensible cost. We operate our own truck, and really we cover our costs with what we charge. It's not a profit side of the business, it's providing the service. So we do deliver a lot of the cars that we sell. We are also inviting part exchanges. A lot of our stock comes in through part exchange, and we are happy to look at modern cars as well as light commercials as well. So if you've got something like that you'd like to discuss with us, then please let us have the details, and we'll be happy to do so. And finally, we offer a collection service. Of course, we have a railway station here in Overton where you'd be very welcome to come and collect the car. I'm very confident that this car will drive you anywhere you need to go. So folks, thank you very much for watching the walk around video today. Please get in touch if you have any other questions, and I'll be happy to help. So this is Danny from Bradley James Classics, signing out.